If you're talking sports, it's the matchup. Mickey here with Zizzy. Yeah, we cutting it up. Just a couple athletic enthusiasts. You know what it is, the Mickey Zizzy podcast. We are back. It's season 3, episode 17, which should remind you that just like Josh Allen, we are the best in the biz, the Mickey Zizzy podcast, bigger and better with this season. And we have a couple sponsors. Of course, we are brought to you by Pinnacle Supplementation. Make sure you reach your pinnacle, and also check out another supporter of the podcast, OBL Extraordinaire, Pickup Court Globetrotter, Secret Sauce Shooter, the Smucker Smack Talker. Come on, man. That's Gray Anderson and his YouTube channel, G for 3. Check him out on all of his social media platforms. I'll throw them up there for you. You can check him out. A lot's been going on. Before we get into it, of course, I'm Zizzy, but the dude next to me, I mean, where's he at? Where's he at? One of a kind, Mickey Hines. What's good, brother?
And
What's good, brother? Look at that.
Go.
Look at that.
Gliding in. Call me Chris Collinsworth. It's about to go down just like the field goal post did in Tennessee. It feels like 98, baby. It's Rocky Top out in here on the Mickey Zizzy podcast. Basketball has started on Tuesdays, Wednesdays. Football's every day of the week. I mean, if you're a sports fan right now, you are living the best life. And that's what we do here on the Mickey Zizzy podcast. Welcome back to another exciting episode. It's about to go down.
Oh, it's going down. It's going down. And we got a lot to discuss. We're going to go a couple different sports. We might... I could even do honorable mentions for baseball, but we're not going to get into that just yet. We're not going to. It's the best time of the year for sports, ladies and gentlemen. All 4 major sports are officially in season.
They are. Whether it's the playoffs, mid-season, or
we get basically a month and a half, but of all 4 major sports, let's just breathe that sigh of relief, knowing that every work week could be a struggle. We have our weekends, everybody. We have these weekends. Let's get after it, Mickey Hines. Let's go.
Well, yes, first, Personal Week presented by G43. Go check it out. He's got some big news dropping Saturday. This episode might not be out yet, but go check it out. He's doing bigger and better things as well. But my Personal Week is Patrick O'Brien, and this is a coworker. At work, we always sit right in front of the halls as the students walk in. We say, hello, hello, good morning, good morning. And it's just one of those people, it's part of your day where you have to do it. And always good vibes, always good conversations, always good to be willing to work with. It's awesome to work with people that you enjoy being around. So awesome person, awesome human, makes Williamsburg a better place there in the Bird. But that is my person of the week. Nice, short, sweet for you.
Okay. Again, hey, big snaps for Mickey when he sticks to the rules.
That's the first.
And then, of course, every time he sticks to the rules, your boy gotta go and break them. My persons, plural, people of the week are the girls, man. It's all the girls. It's the birthday girls. Everybody, come on. We got wifey of the she's got to be this got to be her 4th, 5th time as person of the week on the show at this point. But wifey, Haley, Leah. Oh, come on. What was it? 24? 23?
25.
25. It is the quarter century mark. I did not realize that. Damn, shoddy. Okay. All right. But no, that's awesome. Birthday was yesterday, right? On the 18th.
17th, Monday.
17th. Okay, 2 days ago. But then on top of that, also my sister, Haley. So Haley Yank had her birthday on the 16th. And then Mama Yank had her birthday on the 18th yesterday. So 3 in a row for the girls. Haley, Mama, Haley, and Mama. Let's get after it. So no, just want to shout them out. Happy birthday to all of them. Obviously, we all love them very much and would want the best for them. Everyone's back home doing what they got to do, but happy to see it. And then there's Haley out there doing last clickle, last one,
last rotation for her. Yep.
Oh
yeah. Well, now I think you just put me on the hot seat because I did not have her as my personal week, and it was her birthday. So thanks for putting me on the hot seat tonight.
That's why you get you, I got us. Don't worry about it. It's a team. It's a team effort, Mickey. It's for fun.
Absolutely amazing people. Birthday's always a good time to celebrate those and celebrate those loved ones and their special days. But Yank, here we go. Moving on into college football. I already hinted at it. Yank, we talked about this. We talked about the Tennessee Volunteers. If they can upset Georgia or Alabama, they're going to be a college football playoff team. It happened. And Yank, talk about the field goal post coming down. I was trying to get as many updates as I possibly could. They were walking it up. All the
It was on the streets, man. It was on the streets.
Then somehow they made. I thought they're gonna toss it outside of it, go get it, and then I guess somebody just opened up the door and let them carry out the field goal post and just taking it. And then they go throw it into the river later on. And I remember seeing a video of the president of Tennessee, like University, with a cigar, and he's like, "I don't care. They do that every year." I'm like, dude, those kids aren't gonna get in trouble. Tennessee's going crazy. First time they've ever beat Alabama in the Nick Saban era. I mean, it was their Super
15
Bowl.
years. 15
was-
years.
I mean,
It's a long time.
a long time to lose to them, that many times in a row. But like, just the vibes of all the fans after, like, that's college sports. That's sports in general. And if you're a sports fan, like, just seeing the picture of like all the orange and the videos of fans storming, like
That was my
I'm not even a Tennessee fan.
Yeah.
I love seeing Bama lose. Shout out Cheyenne. Like, I love to see it, but like just seeing that dude, heart was proud.
No, I mean, it was really, that was one of those moments where it's like, you love college football. And if you don't, I don't know. I personally just wouldn't know what to say to you in that moment. Like, there was a point where you're watching on TV. Obviously, we didn't have the fortune of actually being there. I could not imagine the atmosphere, but you're sitting there on the TV and it like comes back from commercial or right before when they're just panning across after they storm the field. It's literally just orange everywhere. Orange, a little sprinkle of red from the Alabama fans. They just couldn't get out in time. But I mean, that is football. That is the emotions, the high tension. It's the most points that Alabama's given up in their history against Tennessee, or is it SEC or whatever?
In years in general. Yeah, 40,
Yeah.
52. I think it's most in the Saban era.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah, most points in general in the Saban era. I mean, they put on an absolute show. The offense is explosive. I mean, you can check the numbers and get a look into that. I'm sure I'll leave that to Mickey. I know he got the numbers, but just what a game, man. What a game. And like Bryce Young to show up after being questionable to start. I mean, he's got to you're a ball player, you go out, you show up in that moment. Back and forth, down to the wire. Absolutely got to love it. Electric.
No, and you already know I was coming at it with the stats. And I mean, Bryce Young, you hear the stat line of 455 yards and 2 touchdowns. You typically would think that team would win the football game. When you score 49 points, you typically win the football game. When your running back, Gibbs, goes off for 100 yards and 3 touchdowns, a hat trick, you typically win the football game. Now, I've been saying it all this time, especially when Bama almost lost to Texas. Bama ain't Bama right now. They're not blowing out these teams. They've had a questionable loss against Texas and now an actual loss against Tennessee. And Tennessee wouldn't prove themselves. Yeah, that defense still gave up 49 points, but their offense wouldn't score 52, Yank. Hooker, we've been talking him up for a long time. 385 for 5 touchdowns and 1 pick. I'll take 5 tutties any day of the week. And, that's not the entire story. Jalen Hyatt called the hotel. Oh, my goodness, dude. He went off for 207 yards and 5 of those touchdowns. Like, are you kidding me?
The 5 touchdowns is what blew me away because, like, you're watching the game and whatever else, but, like, if the announcers hadn't been saying it, I wouldn't have realized it at first. But, I mean, 5 touchdowns as a receiver.
That man solely just rose his draft stock. He's now a 2nd-round receiver, no matter what he does the rest of the year.
He just roasted the entire Alabama secondary by himself.
And you know how good Alabama is. I mean, we see all these NFL players who went to Alabama. Solely rose his draft stock. But, like, Bama. I mean, not Bama. Tennessee. 6-0. A credible win. I know they still got a tough story going, but, like, the main thing we took from this, and you already hinted at it, how great is college sports, college football, the community, charging the field, like, just watching that. I remember I was with family, and they're like, why are you watching this? Who cares? I'm like, this is awesome. this is why I watch sports, for big moments like this. Granted, of course, for my Bears, Celtics, all that jazz.
Yeah. I mean, we all have our
Yeah.
favorite teams, but you have to. Those are the moments that everybody just appreciates.
Yeah, and I'm volunteering. Yeah, hey, feels like 98. I'm gonna be cheering them on the rest of the year. Them and USC, but we'll get to them in just a sec. But anything else about the Volunteers, Yank? I mean, the game was, if you like offense, this is game of the year for college sports easily. I mean, missed field goals down at the end. I've seen people like new videos of like people putting their fan right next to the TVs, trying to move the ball, and it actually
That's
does.
become like a new trend, which I think
Yes.
is hilarious.
Absolutely.
Absolutely hilarious. But no, to me, it's just it came down to who got the ball last. And there's one thing that I will point out that is a question. It is the amount of penalties that we've seen from Alabama in general over recent weeks. This isn't the first time we've seen double digits in penalties from Alabama this season. It's weird to see Saban's team be the one that's undisciplined and the losing effort, and it ends up that, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what cost him. It took north of 15 penalties for Tennessee to get this done by a field goal last second. I mean, it's a
That's the other
testament.
side.
I mean, I know, setting that aside, but I'm just saying it's interesting. It's one of those games because, again, when you do look at the stat records, it's not just Bryce Young showing up for 455 yards. It is also Josh Gibbs running for over 100 yards. He's got 3 touchdowns on the ground, and he walks away with an L at the end of the day. Like, it was just one of those games. I mean, I know we've played in the 62-61 Illinois College game is still always rings north for me, but I love college football, man. I got nothing else on that game.
No, and you're so right. The last thing I have to say about it is like Bama fans, like we had, 10 plus penalties and they only beat us by a field goal. But, you go back to the Texas game. We barely beat Texas off. Texas got screwed over in that game, too. If you don't remember the no call or like the call that shouldn't have been called, I forget the exact details of it. But like there's a big controversial call that led Bama to win. So they were on the flip side of it. So, I mean, Bama's in some deep water. And sadly, if they go beat Georgia, it's going to be chaos of who's trying to get into the college football playoff because typically it's 2 SEC teams, which in my opinion, just goes to show why we shouldn't have a 12-person bracket anyway. But that was for another day, another debate. Going on with another kind of shocker this week is the Utah Utes upsetting the team I've been loving with Caleb Williams and the USC Trojans. Now,
that plural, baby, but we love that team. I believe in them.
We do, and we said this is the team, the matchup that USC is really going to struggle with, or like the one we'd see they possibly lose. And here we are talking about it, Yank. I mean, we talked about it, I think 2 weeks ago on the podcast. Caleb Williams, 380 for 5 touchdowns. I mean, these quarterbacks, Yank.
But that's the thing. Like
400 yards.
What can you do? What more can you do?
I mean,
you score 42. You drop 5 touchdowns as a quarterback. Not even a single pick. Not one.
380 yards. Oh, and
almost perfect
spread the
quarterback rating. I don't understand.
No, and that's a tough thing to look at it. And you look at Rising. I remember watching him in one of the first games for Utah. He had a 415 and 2 touchdowns, so he came back smacking as well. Like he was slinging the rock as well. But the rushing game for Utah is kind of what won it for him. Came down to the wire, and Yank at the end of the day, you just look at this team, and Utah is kind of legit. Rising, I am probably saying his name wrong, but he's the real deal. Cameron Rising is the real deal as well. He had 3 rushing touchdowns and 2 passing. So I mean,
that boy's draft stock is rising. Like currently, come on. Like I just he goes out. You drop 415 yards. I know it's USC, and we got like they're known for offense currently. I mean, but their defense has been playing so much better. And we've been boasting about their defense being so much more improved this season. So for them to come out and go tit for tat and score 43 on them, I mean, it's just as impressive. I mean, you throw 415 yards as a quarterback, you got multiple people rushing on the ground for 50 yards or more. I mean, it says what you can.
Yeah, I mean, Kincaid also had another 200-yard receiving game. We talked about the other people, Hyatt having a 200-yard game. So, like, these people are just making plays on these bigger teams. And Utah is the real deal. Like, they are a good football team. They lost some crucial ones down the stretch. They're 5-2, but beating USC, who if they win that game, like USC is right up there with Tennessee and Alabama at that 5-6-4 spot. It's no question. But now USC has that loss, and they're going to compare Alabama's loss to USC's loss. Well, Tennessee is a whole lot better than Utah. You know what I'm saying? So now it gets to debating your one-loss team. Like, who did you lose to? Utah ain't no slouch. They're ranked 15th right now, and they're a very good football team. For a quarterback to match a Heisman candidate, Kalen Williams, out of Cameron Rising, that's pretty impressive. And he did it on the ground and passing. But, I mean, Utah is the real deal. USC, I'm sorry, but your college football playoff hopes are they're gone. Just like that.
Where do you rank Tennessee right now?
4th.
You put them at 4?
Yeah, without a doubt.
I put them top 3. Look at the resume.
Oh, okay. I will accept top 3. Without a doubt, like
I mean, obviously, I give people right now, I give them obviously Georgia, but then Utah. I mean, then to me, it's your choice of if you believe Michigan or Ohio State is better. Most people will probably say Ohio State.
Yeah.
And then so I understand them at 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like Tennessee's resume speaks for it. I mean, they already have credible wins on their resume before Alabama. Now they get Alabama. I mean, they have probably the toughest schedule in the NCAA, if you ask me. I mean, they're going to play.
If it's an RPI, they have the toughest for sure.
Yeah. So to me, I feel like let's take that into account. They got to go at least top 3.
They are number 3 as of right now for the AP top 25. Ohio State is ahead of them, and right behind them is Michigan. And Clemson, I'm sorry, Clemson has had. Well, they almost lost to Wake Forest.
Clemson is not as good as their rank.
No, they should not be number 5 out of these undefeated teams. I would take Ole Miss. I would take, I'd almost take Bama over this Clemson undefeated team because they've had
I would.
Mizzou and Wake Forest, they almost lost to. Like, they should not be 5th. To me, that's a little too high for them. But
they control their own. They control their own destiny though, because they have the cloud of being a multi-time national championship in recent memory, and then if they go undefeated, I mean nobody's going to question them.
Yeah, and you're right on that. And I mean, they have, but the thing is, this week they have Syracuse, who's undefeated. Right now, the Syracuse Orange are trying to, and that's not really an upset, Yank. Like, if we're talking spread, that's probably going to be closer than we think. And then they go play Notre Dame, which Notre Dame isn't that good this year, I understand. But, like, they were good. They might have some of that championship pedigree back in them. And then, like, Miami, Louisville, and South Carolina. So, I mean, Clemson has harder matchups than we want to believe it or not. Like, one of those could slip. They're close to slipping. I think they will.
All right. Is it happening this weekend? Is your prediction? You think so?
I would go Syracuse. Oh, yeah.
I like the Big Orange. I do. I've been waiting for Clemson to fall. I think we had them, even FSU, we had them in the first half. So, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I think it's possible. I like it for this weekend.
FSU only lost by 6. And they're not a credible team. I'm sorry to hate on your squad, but like,
oh, you're good. I mean, but I've never sat here and boasted like they should be this season. So, I mean, I feel like it's their time. I'll go Big Orange this weekend.
Gosh, I forget what other team I was saying, but I was definitely wrong on it. So my apologies with the Wake Forest and whoever. I was looking back at their teams and who they.
No, but I know Wake Forest was the big one.
It was.
I feel like Wake Forest blew that game.
Yeah, overtime, going down the wire. But moving on, Mr. Yankovic, we're gonna talk some NFL. It's been a doozy of a week. The NFL podcast Pick'ems. Zach Novick still leading the squad right now. He's
can't get him. Can't
playing follow the leader, but guess who's right on his tail? Is you and me. The boys being back right where they should be. And then I think it's Cheyenne and Haley's actually up there. She's having a lot of good picks. She's putting in research. She's putting it in, sending me a bunch of stuff. And then you have Aaron Nickel being your back-to-back week champion. That's his 4th week champion in podcast history. So shout out Aaron Nickel. He's moving up in the ranks. I think he's up there in 6/5. I don't have it right in front of me, but keep on getting those picks in. Another tough week. They're all pretty similar, except for a few games. There's a few matchups that are tough, but
I will say, it's been the toughest one to date this season. This season is tough. It's been a weird one. It's been weird. So shout out to anybody that's up there and everyone that's battling, everyone that's joining and still sending in picks. But we feel you. We feel the pain sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I'm on bad beats, straight up.
yes, indeed. Now, talk about bad beats. Let's just go into it.
Oh yeah, rip it off. Rip it off.
Bears lose 12-7 Thursday night prime time. I was speaking into existence. I was telling everyone I was so excited, and my heart was hurting.
You almost had me converted. You really did.
But here's the thing, though. I'm still have so much hope and faith because they got down to the 5-yard line 3 drives. That's 21 points if you're any other football team in the National Football League. All right, Yank? And I'm getting a little heated because inside the 5-yard line, Luke Getsky, come on. But it's also on just feels a little bit. If you would have looked left and David Montgomery one of the plays, you got to have a better toss ball. You can't overthrow him. Darnell Mooney, if you're going to be that dude, be him is what these kids are calling it these days. Got to catch the ball and come down with it. I still don't think he scores, though, if he does, so I'm not blaming it on that. It's just sad when the opposing quarterback, Carson Wentz, goes for 99 yards. Not even 100. That's embarrassing. The defense held 12 points. That's when you hold it. I talk about scoring 49, right? And you should win the ball game. If your defense gives up 12 points, you should win the ball game. And Chicago just couldn't finish, and that was the moral of the story. Justin Fields showed the wheels like no other. They missed a field goal. I was all the way back in. I was sprinting, running around my house. I was like, let's go, about to go crazy. And we just can't finish it. And it's hurting my heart. 2-4, not where the Bears want to be, but yeah. I mean, we just got to really – Khalil Herbert's the dude. David Montgomery's doing a rushing game's good. It's just we got to figure out something passing. Man, talk my Bears up, something.
I mean, I believe the Bears are the better team. 100%. 100% the Bears are the better team in this matchup. A part of me was saying the reason why I did go with the Commanders last week was simply because of two things. One, I think the whole Brian Robinson story, just like it had to end in him scoring a touchdown. So I felt like that was just bound to happen. Two, with Ron Rivera coming out and kind of just dissing Carson Wentz, I expected him to come out and play much better. To not get, I do believe in the Bears defense, but I expected him to show up and try and show that he's still worth something. 99 yards, no touchdowns. You're killing me, Carson. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's just been 3 years in a row now of just mediocreness where you're on thin ice. Now you're having surgery, right? He just had surgery on his finger, I believe. So
I think so.
Now we got Taylor Heineke, I think, stepping in with the Commanders. I just don't know. It might be the end of the days for Carson. We'll see.
And Taylor Heineke is a good quarterback too. I like Heineke.
I like him. I like Heineke. I love him. I love it. But no, I really do believe that you guys were the better team. It's just like you said, the moral of the story is finished, and you have to score in the professional and National Football League. You know, you have to score. You're sitting there on the goal line 3 separate times, and you end up with 7 as your final score. Even if you kick the field goals every time, you still win the game.
Yeah. And that's where the Bears don't want to be. They're, Justin Fields talked about it in his press conference, like almost. I'm tired of being almost good. Like, sweet, let's produce on the field and stop freaking out when your first read isn't open. That's one thing I noticed. Boom, first read, sit. I don't take off, which him taking off, like he should be play action every single time. He should be out of the pocket. He's one of the best out of the pocket passers in the league.
He is incredible, I will say. On the run, absolutely. I mean, he did make plays in this game that were just like pure athleticism, and then also he did have a few good throws as well. I mean, Darnell Mooney, I do agree. I do think is a great receiver, but it's just that I think that the Bears are going to end up at some point trying to put all this on Justin Fields when they don't have enough there to support him.
Oh,
David Montgomery is a fantastic running back. Darnell Mooney's a good wide receiver, but you need more receivers and you need a better offensive line. He is running for his life on some of these drives. So you can't expect somebody that young in their career to be able to shoulder the load like that. Yes, the defense is playing great, but you got to be able to score. These teams are going to score. I mean, defense playing great in the NFL nowadays is 20 points or less. So,
Yeah, you're totally right. Like anything under 20 is fantastic for a defense. I mean, the defense was balling. We are holding them when needed to, but yeah, like you said, just need to finish. Monday Night Football against Patriots. Guess who I'm taking? Bears bounce back week. Everyone's betting against them. Bring it on. I want all the smoke.
I actually love it this week. I don't know if Mac Jones is coming back. I actually would kind of hope that he is for your guys' sake in a way.
I say, yeah.
I actually think he still would not be 100% ready, and they're rushing it a little bit. But no, I do. I'll give everyone a sneak peek on one. I will ride the Bears train this week. I will.
Let's go. Let's go. Put it in the paper. Let's ride.
Put it in the paper.
So my other team I want to talk about briefly here about on the Mickey Z podcast is the Giants. The G-Man. Yank. Huh? The New York Giants are good? Dare I say it? They go beat the Packers? They go beat Madden cover Lamar Jackson Ravens? Saquon Barkley is healthy, looking like a healthy Saquon Barkley. Why we all liked him and put him on fantasy teams in years past. Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, that'll win you a ball game. Clean, crisp, 19 for 27. Like, that's winning football, right? But that defense is none other. That defense is just playing together. They're getting 3 and outs. They're getting winning on third downs. That's what's great about the Giants. It gives your offense more time. I mean, there was a point, I think it was against the Bears actually, where Saquon Barkley was the quarterback for them. He was running Wildcat because their backup quarterback went down.
They run Wildcat every game.
Yeah, they run it every game.
At some point.
Wildcat. It's not like, oh, haha, we're going to catch you off guard. Like, no, they're going to run it and get a good 6 yards. But I am just so surprised. I mean, Yank, they're 5-1. Can't believe it. The NFC East is the NFC Beast now because the Cowboys are 5-1, right? Or I think they're 4-2 now, which is bonkers. Yes. And my thing, though, they ain't going to keep it up. I don't see them doing this the entire year. Teams are going to figure them out. Their schedule's going to get a little bit harder. They play the Jags. I love the Jags this week. I am this close from choosing the Jags for a bounce back week. But, I just said, Yank, I said they aren't going to be too good. But they also play Seahawks. I think that's a win for them. Texans, Lions. And then they get back into divisional play. They could be 9-1.
I mean, they very well could be. However, I think that they've beaten some impressive teams. I mean, in my opinion, anytime that you beat the Packers in prime time, it's big because Aaron Rodgers he typically shows up in prime time. And then from there to go ahead and shut Lamar Jackson down in the fourth quarter, beat the Ravens. I mean, I feel like most people were picking the Ravens to win that game because everyone, when they're looking at the top teams record-wise in the NFL, no one's giving the Giants the credit as that they deserve as a 5-1 team. Nobody is. I'm one of those people. Like, we just know. I don't believe that they're this good yet. Because, I mean, as fun as it is to call Daniel Jones Danny Dimes, I don't believe that he's throwing that many dimes. I just don't. So it's hard to believe in them, but at the same time, they're doing it right. I mean, Brian Daboll, talk about a turnaround, man. Coach of the year at 100%. Brian Daboll, 100% coach of the year right now. So if they continue this streak, you're right. They could very well end up being 9-1, but the teams on their schedule, even though they could win the game, every game is a tough out. I mean, the Jaguars, it just depends what Jaguars team shows up. I mean, we've seen them play great against the Chargers and teams like that. We've seen them underperform against other teams. Then you go ahead and you get the Seahawks again, Geno Montana. They out there playing well. They have a great offense. Kenneth Walker the third stepping into a role and outperforming expectations. They got a great offensive line. Defense is what hurts them, but I mean that could be a barn burner shootout. You never know there. And then following it up with the Texans, I think the Texans are the worst yet grittiest team in the NFL, in my
The
opinion.
Lions are gritty. They're actually good.
I mean the Lions. Yeah, I can't believe that they're 1-4 at the end of it.
They have the worst defense.
They still just can't finish the games.
They have the worst defense in the NFL statistically.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they just haven't performed very well at all on that side of the ball. But I would say the Texans and obviously, yeah, the line they're both very tough outs. So never know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
All righty. Now, some of the teams that you want to digest here in this episode.
Well, first and foremost, let's get out the way. I mean, I've got the jersey on. Let's talk about them. Fins. First off, Fins up going into this week, so we definitely have something to look forward to. But it's just it's what else can you expect when you got to run with a third string quarterback? I mean, it's not that I don't think that Skylar Thompson can't keep us in a ball game or keep us competitive. I still believe that we were the better team in each of the last 3 weeks overall. It's just a matter. I mean, when you lose your starting quarterback, it changes how your team's going to perform. Our team is based off of accuracy at the quarterback position, ball placement, so people can run after catch. We have a short game offense, and we perform it very well, and it opens up the deep ball for a player like Tyreek Hill. That's how we play our offense. It's very well known to everybody, but we just have the guys that have the speed to execute it and get open. All comes down to who the quarterback was. Many of us believe in Tua. He's obviously shown what happens now when he's not in the offense. We're stagnant. I mean, it is what it is. You're 3-3 with the third string quarterback. You lose 3 straight after being 3-0 with your starter. Not too upset about it. I've said it the last couple of weeks of the last couple of episodes on the podcast. The defense definitely needs to perform better. We are underperforming our expectations heavily, aside from Kevin Holland, who is still performing as one of the best safeties in the league. But it hurts to watch. It sucks, especially knowing that the rest of the division is playing well. I mean, the Bills look like possibly the best team in football, if not at least top 2. And then you've got the Jets, who are, dare I say it, looking good. Oh my goodness. I hate to bring that up, but that's a whole nother thing. Even they play us without Tua, but I mean they still hung 40 on us. So it doesn't really they're not to be messed with. And then you got the Patriots, who you just never count out because it's Bill Belichick. I mean, he's out there winning games with his third string quarterback. So it is what it is. We just got to pick up the pieces, and Tua will be back on Sunday night against a Pittsburgh Steelers team that I can't really get a feel for, but I still believe we're the better team. And with Tua at the helm, as long as he's healthy and doesn't get hit and crumple, I think we got it.
Now, Yank, you're putting a little blame on the quarterback, but Teddy Bridgewater coming in as a backup after being hurt as well.
For a series?
What do you mean?
I know. I'm talking. You're talking.
Yeah.
I was
talking about this past week. Yeah, he went in the one series. I started him in fantasy. He scored me 0 points because he didn't get a completion off because he got hurt. That hurts. But he comes back this week, 329, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Obviously not winning football, but it's still pretty good, right? You could win with a stat line like that if you're a quarterback. Mozart only had 49, but the rush game was kind of not there. And if you're Miami Dolphins, like I know you're relying on Tyreek Hill, who goes off for 177. You know what I'm saying? And Mike Gesicki, 2 touchdowns. Call it the gritty. Love Mike Gesicki. He's awesome.
That's the best gritty ever.
Oh, right. And I just think the Dolphins do need a little bit more of a rushing game to really balance it out since Tua is gone. I feel like that'd be very helpful. And you're going against Minnesota, which Minnesota is one of the top NFC teams, and I hate saying that, right? But Kirk Cousins doesn't have like a monumental game. 175 for 2 touchdowns. I mean, very comparable to Teddy Bridgewater. I think they've had similar stats, granted 200 more yards for Teddy, but he threw 2 more picks. So, that's kind of the cookie crumbles there. And if you look down at it, like Dalvin Cook had 77 yards and a touchdown. Like that's what you want out of a running back. That's the workload you're asking for. Right. And then, of course, Justin Jefferson's going off, et cetera. And that defense ain't no joke. Well, that's what we talked about the Vikings at the beginning of the year. I think that's why you had them ranked number 1. I mean, they have a stellar defense with getting, I think it's Zadarius Smith. Zadarius Smith from Green Bay. Like him adding to the bunch, like that's pretty nice. You know what I'm saying? And that defense, like I said, is still pretty good. And the Dolphins are crumbling a little bit. I mean, they've lost 3 straight. Yes, you don't have your starting quarterback. I get it. Now, Tua comes back. All things going back, rainbow starts to shine again, or how the Dolphins going to respond when Tua comes back?
I mean, I would expect us to take that next step. I mean, he was number 1 in quarterback rating and completion percentage. I mean, he was doing everything that he needed to do and show why he deserves to be a starter somewhere in this league, if it's not for us, even anywhere. But like, I just think I mean, we're gonna have to see. I mean, I'm gonna see, but I think that we bounce back. I still think that we're a better team than most of the teams that we match up against. It's just a matter of play at that position is paramount. Obviously, like in Teddy Bridgewater, like you said, he did come in. He throws for over 300 yards, throws 2 touchdowns, but the turnovers were bad turnovers, and those are going to cost you. So,
They got the Steelers, Yank.
I get that. I get that the Steelers aren't a joke of a defense, but I don't view them the same when they don't have. I don't know if Watt is back already.
No.
Yeah, but I don't view them the same without TJ Watt being in the mix. Minka, it's a revenge game against the Dolphins in a way. He was a member of the Dolphins, but he doesn't look at it as a revenge game. He just comes out, shows nothing but love for him, everything like that. I get it. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, but they just completely. I don't know. They just ruined everyone's pick last week by beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I don't see them going back to back in this situation. I don't know if it's Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett starting at quarterback. I don't know who it is, but either way, I am much more confident in this team with 2 at quarterback.
Gotcha. So little shaky there for your Dolphins, but I mean, you have the right to be them being at 500. Their upcoming schedule, they got the Steelers, Lions, and the Bears November 6th. That's their game. It's going down here on the Mickey Zizzy podcast rivalry week for us. So not like a terrible slate for them. It's definitely one where they can bounce back and get 3 wins. Not against my Bears. I'm picking Bears that week because it's rivalry week for us, but. For the Lions and Steelers, like a lot of people, I would say, would lean towards the Dolphins, especially if Tua plays. And I think Tua just needs to get rid of the ball. Like you said, don't take a hit, Tua. Please just get the ball out. Don't run them for the first week. Get that confidence back.
Absolutely.
Now, what's the one other team that you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, no. So the one other team that I wanted to bring up was going to be the Arizona Cardinals. And it was not just for the fact that they have D-Hop coming back. So obviously when looking ahead, it's something that's very, very exciting. But they're going to be featured on the Hard Knocks for in season. We're a Kyler Murray podcast. And there's some questionable, it's questionable what is going on in Arizona. I mean, I did not believe that they would be as great this season. I said that before the year started. But 2-4. Now you lose Hollywood Brown for God knows how long. J.J. Watt has been having injury issues since he's gotten there. You've got James Conner that's in and out of the lineup now. Eno Benjamin was a good step in, but it's not James Conner. So just so many question marks. And yet here we are talking about DeAndre Hopkins coming back, Kyler Murray truly getting his explosive weapon. They have Rondale Moore still there to complement him. They have
that trade.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. So Yeah, you get Robbie Anderson in the trade. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on there. And it's Kyler Murray, man. He can scramble. He makes plays. He's a special player. So I love to see what happens with this offense moving forward and to see if the Cardinals can return to true form. I truly believe that they can do it. I think the defense is going to have to help them a little bit, but it's not like, I mean, they allowed 19 points against the Seahawks. They just couldn't score. They couldn't score. And they need that number one weapon. I do believe DeAndre Hopkins is a game changer. He's one of those players. So I'm excited to see what happens with the Cardinals.
This game was a dud. 9-19. We said you keep a team under 20 points, you typically win. Not going in our category for that quote unquote statistic. But Kyler Murray, yes, we are a Kyler Murray podcast. We need 222 yards and interception. Not good. But you have 100 yards on the ground. Okay. Holding your own a little bit there. Like you said, the injuries are coming, but like you're getting two powerhouse receivers. I mean, Robbie Anderson will be a very solid number 2/number 3 option if Ertz is the
That's
number
a
2
big
option.
time deep threat for someone like
It
Kyler.
is. It is. And you still have D-Hop who's going to come back, and it's a revenge game. It's a, hey, NFL, I'm back. And there's a reason why DeAndre Hopkins has been sitting on my bench in 2 of my leagues. Here we go. Like, I'm ready for it. He's already in the
Right, and I mean, it's Thursday night football. It's prime time.
Exactly.
If somebody's got to make a play, they're going against the Saints, which don't get me wrong, the Saints always play tough defense. I have not been confident in their offense. Michael Thomas still not going to be back in this game. I'm not sure about Jarvis Landry, but still, I feel like this is the okay. Let's put them back on notice. Let's remind them that even if they win this game, they'll be 3-4, but they are better than what their record states, and they'll have one more final
Which is
push
tough.
at this. Yes, they'll have one more final push at this, though, is where I'm really getting at. So that's why they interest me after this past week.
Yeah, and it's tough to say because, I mean, the Seahawks didn't play well. Geno, under 200 yards, 197. That's it. I mean, Walker had
Didn't make a
97
mistake,
touchdown.
but mediocre.
Playing clean football, and that defense really just came to play. And the Seahawks defense is kind of good this year, but I think it's more just the offensive, not necessarily play calling, but the drama and the things that are not going well is all on the offense. The defense, like I said, plays well. The Cardinals defense is a very middle of the pack defense, which can still have its moments of holding teams to little points. And moving forward for the Cardinals, you said you got the Saints. I think it's an easy win for the Cardinals. I think it's the bounce back week on prime time to show everyone in front of everyone on Amazon Prime saying, hey, Arizona Cardinals are back. Kyler Murray podcast. Talk about it, right? That's what they want. That's what they want in the situation, right? And then after that, they play the Vikings. After that, they have the revenge game against the Seahawks. Then the Rams. 49ers. I mean, their schedule gets harder and harder each week, Yank. But the NFC West is not the best anymore. We clearly know that. It's kind of up for grabs who's going to run away with it since the Rams having their struggles. Cardinals can do it. If they come show us on Thursday night, I think it's a big game. I think it's a big statement game. Kyler Murray, D-Hop back, get that connection back. Like if they score the first drive, momentum's all on your side, and the Cardinals will be all the way back.
Bring it. Talk to me nice. That's what I want to hear. I mean, we got a little combo. We're talking some week 6 recap and then getting into this week 7 to kick it off. I love it, baby. I love the energy. But that's all I got on them. You got any final words?
Not about the NFL, other than the pickles are going great. Fantasy's going great. I hope everyone's enjoying their seasons. Hopefully we're getting some wins here and there. But football's fun. And just talking about the NFL is amazing. We definitely are seeing some players thrive, seeing some players like Christian McCaffrey's maybe on the trading block.
Yeah,
I heard a rumor he might go to the Buffalo Bills.
They're talking. I mean, the Chiefs just went and cleared $5 million in cap space. Are they going to go get OBJ?
That's what I heard. I heard podcast.
That's a big rumor. That's a big rumor. Are they going to go get CMC? That's also a rumor I've heard.
Imagine CMC and OBJ go to the Chiefs. Okay. Get your Super Bowl shirts now.
No, ain't nobody touching that. You can't give Patrick Mahomes that.
And OBJ is not going to be a huge threat, but he's going to be a possession catcher. You telling me 5 yards plays for OBJ?
I mean, to me, he instantly becomes the number 1 receiver on the roster.
After an ACL, though, he wasn't the number 1.
It's bad because it's his second ACL.
Yeah. So I wouldn't think so. But like number 2, people will still have the game plan for him. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
The
I think the
NFL's
talent will be
great.
there. Yeah, gotta love it, dude. Gotta love football.
Now, Yank, we just talked about football. And right around the corner, here comes the NBA. We're talking about, we're playing basketball. Psych, we're talking basketball. Here on the podcast, we're back with a quick little segment about just our way too early predictions and a little bit about last night's games. Your C's, Blake of the Year. Look at a PMT with Blake Griffin is on the Celtics. Let's go.
91. What is that number? What is that number?
91 is clean as can be. Super excited to have Blake Griffin on the squad just to bring that veteran's presence and help coach up these guys on the side and like give them some hope with him diving on the ground and giving them the energy. Yank, the reason I'm talking about the Celtics, because you read my hat, do you see that? NBA Finals last year. Yeah, it was a heartbreaker. Heart was broken, but guess what? We're coming back better than ever. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum scored 35 last night. Only going to make my pick easier. Boston Celtics going to win the NBA championship this year. Saying it now. Yes. Am I biased? Yes. 100%. But I have the stats to back it up. They have the reigning DPOY. They have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, one of the best duos in the NBA, like at least top 8 in the NBA. And a veteran squad. I mean, I know the coaching scandals on the outside is not good for the brand, but the players on the court is what's going to take them to the ship. Obviously, it's going to be tough here and there, but you know, I got to throw my C's a bone.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I love it, actually. I mean, when you talk about some of the teams coming into the season that you think are going to compete for titles, I mean, they're definitely in that conversation. They're definitely a top 3 team in the East. I think if you ask anybody on the street, and yes, obviously I have them up there as well. I think they're a great team. I think that there's a lot of big steps that it looks like they might have even taken in the off season, even just after one game. Just for the fact that your coach has the whole situation, everything else, but a young 34-year-old Joe Mazzulla steps in, looks like he's in command of everything, gets everything in order. You got Jason Tatum, who's an absolute star. We see that he's coming out. He's taken some. It's almost like a different approach to the game, even though it's game one. It's game one of 82.
Don't get too excited.
He's playing like it's mid-season form. So that was big time to see. On top of that, I mean, you dropped 35 and 12. Welcome back. So you got that going on. And then the biggest thing is like everyone's always said it. It might be the kryptonite of the Celtics. Can Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown figure it out together? They proved it going through the playoffs and the end of the season last year. Obviously, getting in the finals, they showed there would be game, but again, it was intermittent. This is game one. You tell me they both dropping 35? In game one, 70. A 70 burger between the two of them?
Yes,
Come on now.
sir.
That's dirty. That's dirty. So, I mean, I love to see that. And then, obviously, like you said, DPOY, Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart back on the roster, Big Al back on the roster, Derek White, who I hate what the headband, I hate the whole combo. I hate the headband hair combo. I just don't know why it doesn't look that great for the kid. Sorry to him, but the kid, I mean, he's a baller. I'm not saying he did much this past game, but I think he will be an integral part. He was huge down the stretch in the playoffs. I think that's a big thing. And then let's be real, Marcus Brogdon, that pickup.
Malcolm Brogdon, yeah.
Or Malcolm Brogdon. Yeah,
Yep.
I said that same thing watching the game last night. But yeah, Malcolm Brogdon. Come on, man. That's a great pickup. Shooting 7 for 11, game one, 16 points. That's the kind of production you need if you're coming off the bench too. That's what hurt you guys in the finals. The Warriors, we know they have that depth. This is that one big key player that you guys have to kind of bolster that second unit.
No, 100%. And you named off all the players that are to come back for him. We got Malcolm Brogdon, loved it. And the team's really meshing together with also, like we said, the coaching fiasco. And that's kind of the big thing that kind of daunted me in the offseason. Like, oh, my goodness, we didn't do like XYZ, which we didn't need to do anything. Run it back and let Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown just get 1 year older and get better at basketball. That's exactly what they're going to do and what they showed in week 1. I was watching the game. I'm like, okay, back and forth. 76ers, very good team. And here we go. Start popping off. I'm loving it. Right on a Tuesday night when I'm not.
I mean, it's not like the 76ers didn't give him a fight. I mean, Embiid's playing well. Harden had himself a night. Tyrese Maxey was great in stretches. I mean, they played well. It was just, I mean, the Celtics just overpowered them, especially in that third quarter on that run. Just absolutely creating turnovers, turning them into points. It got ugly pretty quick there in the third.
Yes, it did. I mean, obviously, that's my Eastern Conference champion. But any other teams you want to talk about in the ECF before we go talk about some of the front runners in the West?
For the Eastern Conference, I feel like there's a few teams that you can't not talk about. Obviously, I am a big Heat fan. I don't believe that we're going to be an easy out for anybody. We can compete with the best of them. We're re-signing the people that we need to re-sign. We've got the right culture, the right attitude. I don't believe that we're the best team in the East going into the season. I can say that, but I do believe that, again, we're a great out. We'll contend. We'll do that. You got the Milwaukee Bucks. I think the same thing. I mean, if they have Chris Middleton in the playoffs last year, maybe it's them that represent the East in the finals. You never really know. It's possible. So I'm not going to count them out, especially when it's Giannis at the helm. He's just an absolute freak of nature and knows how to break opposition. I don't know. So they're always a threat, but for me, it is going to be the Brooklyn Nets. I do believe the Brooklyn Nets will show up finally this season, and it really is going to be because of Ben Simmons. It's not necessarily the fact that he's going to be the scoring threat or the shooter. Obviously, we don't ever, and none of us expect that. But I think it's more his impact on the defensive end of the floor, and then just being able to play make. So now all Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving get to do is play ball and score. I mean, that they're both literally unguardable when it comes to that position. They have depth. They still have shooting behind them. You got Curry. You got Joe Harris, who didn't play all last year, coming back from injury. So he's there. I mean, I really do think that if they're going to have one real shot at this, it's going to be this year. And I mean, if you're going to tell me you can't believe in the ability of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving at the helm of this team with the background help that they have, I don't see how you can.
I definitely can see how you can. First of all, the offseason debacles was awful. Kevin Durant was going to get traded. He wasn't. He was. Kyrie
And yet, I feel like the whole world forgot about that at this point.
But the thing they didn't, though, right? He was hating on Steve Nash this entire time, which is bogus, trying to get on out. And you think Ben Simmons is going to save him? Yank, did you understand the words that were coming out of your mouth?
Not for for the reasons I said. I believe he's a huge
defense. Okay, he hasn't played in what, a year, almost a year.
Come on, man. Defense. Hey, as a defender,
it don't matter. A defender
runs in your veins, baby.
Yeah, but then guess what? It's 4v5 when it's offense. You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna sag off on Ben Simmons.
Not 4v5. He's Magic Johnson, baby.
No, he's not. He's not gonna shoot the ball.
He's a facilitator.
Ben Simmons is scared to shoot the basketball.
He's not an offensive threat at all. When you have Kevin Durant and Kyrie, no one else should shoot the ball anyway, aside from Curry or Joe Harris.
How's that been working for him? Get swept.
Kyrie.
Sorry, I think I still hear the brooms from last year because that was a blasphemous take. Ben Simmons is not the saving grace for a team that was the 7th seed that got swept. All right?
They would not have been the 7th seed if it wasn't for the injuries and Kyrie thing last year.
Exactly. Guess what? It'll probably be more of it, more drama.
If Kyrie Irving plays 65 plus games, they will be the number 2 seed at least.
Please put it on the line.
At least.
Not in my book. I just don't see the Nets being this powerhouse the way we've said. We've seen them have James Harden. I understand they only played 16 games together. I get it. But just with all the debacle, with something that's going to happen, right? They're not that big in depth. Not going to happen. Now, your other points, their Heat. Yeah, like you said, they're always going to be a tough out, Yank. And they're going to be an awesome 5 seed. They're going to be the 5 seed and upset the 4 seed. That's how I see the Miami Heat, right? Or they'll be the 4 seed and easy sweep the 5, right? They're going to be right in there, second round easy. The Bucks, yeah, Giannis is still one scary individual to play against in basketball. And he could slowly take over a team. We've seen him go win a championship, right? Beat Kevin Durant when he had Kyrie, right? And because of the shoe game, it was a toenail game. But like, if Middleton comes back a little bit healthier, I know he was coming like off an injury, so he wasn't playing as well in that Boston series. Like, okay, like I can support a Bucks team being up there again because they definitely have the credibility to be there. But and after those 4, I'll give you the Nets will make the playoffs, Yank. I mean, I'm not going to credit you that bad, but like, it'll be maybe that 4 seed that Miami upsets. Highest 4 seed. Otherwise, they're making the playoffs still.
All right. We'll see what happens.
And obviously, now we go into the West. Yank, I think it's anyone's game. I mean, obviously, it's the Warriors. Gotta upset them.
The Warriors to lose.
Yes. I think you're
I
right.
I don't think anyone can look at the Warriors and say that they are not the favorite. In my opinion, I mean, they just won the championship. They retain everybody. And the players that they won the championship with last year, most of them were young and developing. They're still developing. They're only going to get better. And their depth is absolutely insane now that you get Kuminga and Wiseman back as well from
I was
injury.
gonna say, I remember the second overall pick, Wiseman, a few years back.
That's what I'm saying. So you still got Wiseman, you got Kuminga coming back. I mean, that's a whole thing in and of itself. But then, of course, we know the 3-headed monster of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Jordan Poole with a little sprinkle of Draymond Green in there. I mean, they're just absolutely electric. They're so good at what they do. They come out game 1 against the Lakers squad that, yes, they're better than, but they just look like they're in midseason form already. And their depth makes them insanely hard to cover. So for me, it's going to be the Warriors as the #1 favorite. But there is a lot of good talent in the West, man. They really could be, even if they do end up as the #1 seed, it wouldn't even surprise me if whoever the AC was gave them a run or even almost upset them.
Yeah, you're right. I would say it'd be a knockout blow, but we wouldn't be talking about Draymond Green hitting Jordan Poole. I think that's the only occasion that would happen is some off the court drama that might affect the Warriors negatively and like to not let them win. But yeah, they're the front runners and a strong front runner, but right behind them, I mean, the Suns are still decent. I love the Mavericks. Luka's still forming, right? The Clippers, everyone forgot about Kawhi. Now, Clippers are going to be a playoff.
You can't forget about them.
No, they're not going to go win the shit.
They're just the way. They'll find a way to not
lose.
Win.
Yeah, of course, like they always do. The Timberwolves went got Rudy Gobert and Cat. Like
that's an interesting one to watch.
Good luck scoring inside, right? And when they have Anthony Edwards, who's a powerhouse in himself, not better than LaMelo, but these the real deal. Like the Timberwolves, I should say, are the real deal too. They might be a 4 to 3 seed. I could see that happening given these teams run for the money. But the Warriors are the front runner. Steph Curry is still Steph Curry. Their team is all the way back, and the younger players who are on their bench, less like a little bit in their starting 5, are only going to get better. So like the Warriors have the perfect, well coached, perfect team right now. If you're a Warriors fan, you're going to be sitting pretty, especially after when they blew out the Lakers last night in Game 1. But on ring night. That's all for basketball. We're back.
Give me one before we wrap this up tonight. Give me one sleeper team for you.
In the NBA?
Year. Who?
In the NBA?
Yes, NBA.
Okay. So, as I look at the standings and whatnot, I like the Cavs. The Cavaliers.
That is a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, so they're a sleeper because, they've made moves, right? And they were the 9th seed, like, trying to make some things. But guess who they got from the Utah Jazz? Which Utah's going to be terrible this year. Donovan Mitchell. Okay, Spida. All right. Darius Garland, which is still good. Kevin Love is your...
Kevin Love comes off, honestly, with, the second unit.
Evan Mobley, awesome, right? They still have Jarrett Allen, who those two big guys inside is great for them. Young core. Karis LeVert can shoot the ball. Ricky Rubio can move the ball around. He's your backup point guard that's going to come and move around, right? So, you look at that team, and they got a lot of young, good talent. And with Donovan Mitchell now running the team, you can see the Cavs being a strong 6 seed, right? But like an upset team, right? They were a 9 seed, not even being talked about making the playoffs this year. Dominant playoff team. They might be even like those Utah or the Atlanta Hawks / Utah Jazz teams in the past. You know what I'm saying? Where they're like really, really good, and we know they're going to lose. Like that could be the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Absolutely. I love Cleveland this year. I really do. I feel like they play people tough. They had, just like a lot of teams, everyone deals with injuries. Some were significant than others. Had some issues. They're still young, like you said, but they got the pieces. And Donovan Mitchell is an addition. He came out and just some of the tune-up games looked absolutely electric. He looks like he's in midseason form with something to prove, which he does. He's leaving the Utah Jazz to show up in Cleveland. You're technically filling the shoes of LeBron over there. It's a little bit difficult to do that, but no, I love it for Cleveland. I love it for the organization moving forward, and I really think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. So I'm with you on that. Mine is on the other side. It's the New Orleans Pelicans. I do believe in that. People forget that Zion is an absolute freak of nature, and that they took the Pelicans. They took the Suns on a deep playoff run last year without him playing at all. I'm just saying, that's the number 1 seed. They were the best team by far coming into the playoffs, or everyone was trying to say. And they took them on that deep run, and that in itself, with the fact that they are so young, with the fact that Zion's the first player since Shaq to score 25, do 25, 5 and 5 in 25 straight games or something like that, whatever the record was. But Shaquille O'Neal is the person that we're comparing him to. This guy is a unicorn. As long as he stays healthy and gets on the field, he's going to come out with cabin fever. Even when he did play, the last time he played was during COVID when there was no fans. This guy hasn't seen fans in 2 years. He is ready, and I'm excited to see what the man can do. I think adding him back to that roster totally makes them a case for a deep playoff. Makes them a potential deep playoff run candidate.
He's looking good. He's looking swole. He's looking like a unit.
Cut up.
He is, and I can get behind that a little bit. I think the Pelicans aren't going to be no slouch anymore. They're definitely not going to be the bottom of the barrel of the teams. And like you said, they did give the Suns a run for their money in the playoffs last year. But Zion, we're really going to see what he's all about. We've been waiting for the hype for so long. We're seeing what Ja Morant's been doing. I think they came in the same draft.
Don't forget that they got CJ too now. They got McCollum over there with them.
They got their shooter. They got BI, who's technically like their superstar small forward. And now they got Zion. So, yeah, I like that.
I love it. I love it, baby. We got all the sports back. Let's get it.
Yeah, no last hot takes except for Monday night. Go watch it. Bears catching a dub.
I do like them being prime time, back-to-back weeks. Gotta love it. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you're talking sports, it's the matchup. Mickey, who is Zizzy? We cutting it up. Just a couple athletic enthusiasts. You know what it is. The Mickey Zizzy podcast. Have a great night, everybody. Peace.